Hello guys, and welcome to this video lesson. This video lesson will be about the strategies to complete maps in the IELTS listening test. My name is Kris. A brief introduction about me. I have a PhD in English language teaching from the University of Aston in England, as well as a master from University of Leicester in England, a diploma in English language teaching from University of Cambridge, and I have 25 years of experience in English language teaching and IELTS. Currently, I teach at the IELTS School of Toronto, which is located in Toronto, Canada. And I teach academic IELTS preparation classes, general training IELTS preparation classes, one-on-one distant sessions, internet-based sessions, as well as one-on-one face-to-face sessions. Before we discuss together the steps to follow to complete maps, let us have a look at the important numbers in the IELTS listening test. The IELTS listening test lasts for 40 minutes. 30 minutes is the length of the actual test, and then at the end 10 minutes are given to test takers to transfer the answers onto the answer sheet. 10 minutes are given to you if you are taking the traditional paper and pencil based tests, whereas if you are taking the computer delivery test, there is no time for transfer because the system records the answers, your answers automatically. There are 4 sessions. The sessions increase in difficulty. The first session is the easiest and the last one is the most challenging one. There are 10 questions per session and 40 questions as already said, and you score 1 point for every right answer. In order to be considered correct, the answers should be spelled correctly and should be grammatically correct. To score 7 in the IELTS listening test, you need around 30 right answers, and to score an 8, you need around 35 right answers. This changes from one test to another, depending on the level of the difficulty of the test. IELTS uses a variety of question types in the IELTS listening test, and some of the questions typically used by IELTS are shown on this slide. It is very, very important to know how to prepare before you complete each of these types of exercises, because research shows that very often in IELTS listening and IELTS reading, it is the preparation which makes the difference. This is an example of a map that IELTS can give. So what we've got here, as you see, different numbers, and you need to fill in the gaps. Very often test takers do find this type of exercise quite challenging, and together we will see the steps that you need to follow to perform well in this type of exercise. The very first thing is you need to understand the map. You need to get a sense of orientation. That's why it is important to find the entrance and the exit. You do that by drawing arrows, like in this case, an arrow here, which indicates the entrance, and an arrow here, which indicates indicates the exit. So during the prep time, the very first thing to do, identify the entrance and the exit. Then, as you see here, so maps can be a bit tricky because when we listen, we tend to go this way for some reason. That's how our brain works. But that is not always the case in IELTS. As you see, we've got 14, 15, 19, 18. So the answers are all scattered around. That's why it is a very good idea to draw arrows, like in this case, to link the answers to each other. Drawing arrows is very, very important because this is the order of the recording. So the speaker will follow this order. And if you tend to go like this, you'll get very much confused because you simply won't be on the same page with the speaker. So step number 2, draw arrows to link the questions. Another thing you need to do is you need to be aware of how many words you can use. If IELTS says no more than 2 words and you use 3 words, unfortunately, you will not score anything. So in this case, the instructions, before doing that, so we'll come back in this slide in a minute. So find out how many words you need to use. In this case, the instructions are saying no more than 3 words. So just make sure that you follow the instructions and words like the, of, and so on, they are optional. They don't actually count as words in IELTS. And if the instructions say, like in this case, no more than 3 words, it is alright actually to write just 1 word because 1 word is no more than 3 words. But you need to be careful if the speaker is using an adjective and a noun. If the speaker is saying something like international student, you do need to write down in this case both the adjective and the noun, because if you only write down the noun, if you only write down student, unfortunately you might not score. And the other thing that you need to do in IELTS is underline the keywords for each question and predict. It is very, very important to write down actual words when you predict. Like in this case, number 14, just ask what street. It can be any street. Write down the name of a street, something like Young Street. Number 15, block of what? So always ask the question what? Block of what? What comes to your mind? It can be blocks of buildings, for example. Number 16, it is difficult to predict anything here because we don't have any keyword. Number 17, what IELTS gives you is outdoor and is besides the sport area. So what can be besides the sports area? Outdoor. Obviously, it can be something like pool, outdoor pool, because it's beside the sports area. Number 18 is above the theatre, and you've got these things here, sculptures, outdoor sculptures, and the word given is walled. Walled, and the word that comes to mind, it's walled garden. It's a very good collocation. Walled and garden are words that often appear together. Number 19, for children, educational center. So what can be for children? Something like playground, perhaps. And number 20, this is a park. Obviously, in a park, we cannot miss things like parking lots or washrooms. So, again, it is very, very important to predict before you complete gap-filling activities. The map, at the end of the day, is a gap-filling activity. Very, very important to predict. And when you predict, write down actual words. Do not write down words like noun, like I'm listening for a noun here, or I'm listening for a number. These are not very helpful. If you write down actual words, actually you are listening for a reason, because you are listening for a word in number 17, for example, that is similar to the word pool. So when you are doing the listening at this particular moment, you are listening for a word which is similar to the word pool. This is the importance of listening for a reason and predicting by writing down an actual word. Alright, so we have followed the 4 preparation steps. The first one was identify the entrance and the exit. The second one, link the questions to each other. The third one, predict by writing down an actual word. The fourth one, how many words you can use. Be aware of the instructions. And the very last thing that you need to do is you need to become familiar with the language used to describe maps. What I want you to do right now, I will play the recording for this type of exercise, and I want you to write down just the words that the speaker uses to describe maps. It can be words like on the left of the entrance, on the other side, and so on. So listen to the recording. This is the time given to you to prepare before you listen. Usually IELTS gives 30 seconds at the end of each section to check the answers and 30 seconds at the beginning of each section to prepare for what you are about to hear. So again, this is time IELTS gives you to prepare.
Listen carefully and answer questions 14 to 20.
If we start here at the bottom, you can see Parkside Street, where the main entrance to the park is. On the left of the entrance, in the bottom left-hand corner of the plan, there will be a block of 40 studio flats. On the other side of the entrance, there will be some workshops for local businesses. There will also be another entrance here on the top right, which leads into Pear Street. Here, in the centre of the park, we will have an ornamental lake with paths radiating north, south, east and west to the different areas of the park. In the top right-hand corner, just by the Pear Street entrance, there will be a large sports area with 2 football pitches and 4 tennis and volleyball courts. Just here, beside the pitches, on the same side of the path, will be an outdoor swimming pool. Now, in the top left-hand corner, a walled flower garden is planned with a rockery and a water feature with walkways, seats, and lots of shady areas for the summer. Next to this, a sculpture garden is also planned. Now, let's see. Just here, below the walled garden, there will be a grassy amphitheatre with a permanent covered stage for open-air concerts. We hope that local schools and colleges will use this theatre to showcase student work. In the bottom left-hand corner of the plan, you can see that above the block of flats, there will be a play area for children, and directly to the right of this, just near the main entrance, there will be a wild area. More trees will be planted here, and in the middle will be built an educational centre for use by local schools to encourage children to take care of the wildlife and look after the trees and plants. And finally, in the bottom right-hand corner of the park will be a cafe opening on to Pear Street. And now for questions. If anyone would like to ask anything, I and my colleagues are only too happy to oblige. Yes, the lady in the front row, if I...
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Alright, so this is the language IELTS uses. Let's see together the most common language used to describe maps. In the top left hand corner, in the top right hand corner, center of the plan, in the bottom left hand corner, in the bottom right hand corner, beside, below and above. So do become familiar with this language because this will help you a lot getting the right answer when you complete map exercises. Let's practice the language together. So which number is in the bottom left hand corner? Bottom left hand corner. That is number 15. Bottom left hand corner. Which number is beside the sports area? Beside the sports area, that is number 17. Above the theatre, that's number 18. In the bottom right hand corner, that is number 20. In the center of the plan, below number 19. And this is the language typically used. Again, do practice this language at home so that you fully understand the speaker and you easily follow the speaker. What we've got here is a summary of the steps to follow. We did this together and you do need to have some practice at home following the steps, the same steps, but completing another type of exercise. And once we have followed these steps together, and obviously become familiar, you do this before you take the test, and these 4 steps you can complete in 30 seconds. You can do it in the real IELTS test because entrance and exit is only 1 second, then linking is other 5 seconds, and so on. So the steps are not very demanding when you complete them in the real test. Alright, the last thing that we have to do now is listen and complete. Alright, now that we have seen all the steps,
and answer questions 14
let us
to 20.
answer the questions. So please answer
If
these
we start
questions.
here at the bottom, you can see Parkside Street, where the main entrance to the park is. On the left of the entrance, in the bottom left-hand corner of the plan, there will be a block of 40 studio flats. On the other side of the entrance, there will be some workshops for local businesses. There will also be another entrance here on the top right, which leads into Pear Street. Here, in the center of the park, we will have an ornamental lake with paths radiating north, south, east and west to the different areas of the park. In the top right-hand corner, just by the Pear Street entrance, there will be a large sports area with 2 football pitches and 4 tennis and volleyball courts. Just here, beside the pitches, on the same side of the path, will be an outdoor swimming pool. Now, in the top left-hand corner, a walled flower garden is planned with a rockery and a water feature with walkways, seats, and lots of shady areas for the summer. Next to this, a sculpture garden is also planned. Now let's see. Just here, below the walled garden, there will be a grassy amphitheatre with a permanent covered stage for open-air concerts. We hope that local schools and colleges will use this theatre to showcase student work. In the bottom left-hand corner of the plan, you can see that above the block of flats, there will be a play area for children, and directly to the right of this, just near the main entrance, there will be a wild area. More trees will be planted here, and in the middle will be built an educational centre for use by local schools to encourage children to take care of the wildlife and look after the trees and plants. And finally, in the bottom right-hand corner of the park will be a cafe opening on to Pear Street. And now for questions. If anyone would like to ask anything, I and my colleagues are only too happy to oblige. Yes, the lady in the front row, if I...
So that
That is the end of section 2. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Alright, so that was the recording, and do check your answers, please. The answers have to be spelled correctly, so Parkside is just one word. If you write it in 2 words, unfortunately, you will not score in IELTS. And flower garden has to be flower garden. If you just write garden, you cannot score again. And the same thing with café. Café has to have an apostrophe at the top of the E. So the answers have to be exactly as shown here. Any deviations, unfortunately, you will not score. Alright, this brings us to the very end of our video lesson. During this lesson we saw the steps to complete math exercises, and once you are aware of the steps, it is very, very important to practice to use the Cambridge books, IELTS 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and so on. Find similar exercises in these books and practice the steps that we saw together. As already said, there are a variety of questions. Today we only saw maps. For each type of question you have to use different strategies, different steps to learn the strategies for the other steps. Please come and attend the courses that we teach at the IELTS School of Toronto. Another time we do teach IELTS, academic IELTS preparation courses, general IELTS preparation courses, one-on-one distance sessions, which means sessions that are live sessions done via internet, and face-to-face private sessions. We are situated on 20 Eglinton Avenue East, Toronto, and thank you very much for attending this session. The contact information, how you can contact us, are shown here. And good luck in IELTS, guys. Goodbye from Kris.